Sound rolling, cameras rolling, fun documentary.
It's different for each child. So my first child I didn't get to hold my first child because me and the mother, we had an issue, which if it was a different documentary, I would go to that in more detail. But with my other three children, when I held them for the first time, I kind of understood something about the divine in actuality. I really felt as if I was blessed. I felt as though, wow, this is unbelievable, this fragile, tiny, tiny thing. And this is from me, this is my child.
Extra special because I had the privilege of being the first person to hold my son. My son was born by an emergency cesarean, so his mother was not conscious when he was born. She was, totally out of it, and I was the first one to hold him, to bathe him, and it's not something I guess dads get to do very often, but I felt extra special. Panicked and rang my mom.
Wow, I can remember. I remember I was there when my son was born, and I can remember I was fine. Emotionally, I was fine, and it felt like we just had to get through things. Right up until I heard him cry for that first time. I remember when I heard him cry, and I actually heard him take that breath in, and that noise come out of his mouth, and it was like a wave almost came over me, and I just started crying as well. I remember I was so tired. I think I had my tears were bloodshot, and I remember that feeling was nothing else like it. Just like a real wave of emotion and elation almost. It was an incredible feeling.
I remember, what film is it? I think it was Lion King, when Mufasa held up, Simba at the time, and it was just like, hi, he was just singing, so it was a moment of glory. I don't know how to describe glory, but I just felt like I was on top of the world, and I had the prize that was given to me from the Most High, and I held it up to the ancestors, and it was a powerful moment.
Now that I would say is indescribable. You have to be there to really understand. I can try and explain it, but it was unbelievable. Holding a child that is so small, so delicate, and this child is yours, and you brought the child into the world. I can't describe it. Yeah, you have to do it. You have to do it.
My feelings, the memories of my first son being born, and even my second, my third, but the memories are, I felt, elated, joyous, and I always remember the very first time that not only he was born, but the very first time actually feeding him, and because he was born 4 weeks premature. We were told actually before he entered the world that at 6 weeks that because he was born with a heart defect, and we were told before he entered the world that, if this continues, I'm sorry to say your son will not survive, but thanks to the Most High, he's still here, and he's 14, going to be 15 next month, and that problem's now been rectified. But because he was born 4 weeks premature, I remember feeding him with a bottle, the very first memory, and watching him drink this bottle of milk. And literally, it's almost as if he tasted it and he's like, this is really good, really nice. And he went, let me take some more of this. And more until eventually he was full and his eyes went, bow! I'm now full, And that is definitely the best memory ever, feeding my son, with a bottle for the first time, and the acknowledgement that he was now full, and yeah, fantastic.
It was absolutely amazing. I was overwhelmed. The fact that I have a child, I'm seeing children all over the place because I was working in schools at the time then as well. And now I have a child for myself. It was so emotional. I just kept kept on staring at my child when I was in the hospital, and I think the doctors and nurses thought there was something wrong with me because they kept on asking, are you okay? Because I just couldn't stop staring at my child. It was just overwhelming.
The absolute joy, joy, happiness. And I say joy and happiness again. That's that's it. You can see my face, innit? That was it. I was like, wow, this child was here, and that's it. Joy, happiness.
When I first saw them, it was a sense of wonder. It was a sense of joy, pride, and not being really excited to actually hold and feel them in my hands, to feel how much they would weigh, to feel how they would wiggle and cry, and whether or not they would look into my eyes, even though I know they couldn't see it, at being firstborn. It was just that sense of wonder. How would they react to the sound of my voice? Just pure wonder and excitement.
What were my feelings when I first held my child? I'll reference my youngest, Hadar Sankofa, which was a magical experience, his birth. His beloved mother is a birth doula. For those of you that don't know, a birth doula is someone who supports mothers and their families into childbirth, kind of like a midwife but unconventional, and usually the birth is at home. So my experience was based around that, and she's a soldier, so we had our son at home, no midwife, no emergency call to the hospital, no rush into the hospital, nothing. She birthed our child at home in a birth pool, surrounded by her friends and family. Her friends were cooking soup in the kitchen. My friends were playing African drums next door, and we birthed our son, just me and her, and our doula, beloved Sister Delia Muhammad. Some people may know her, but yeah, it was a magical experience. It was totally organic, and we were just free to deliver our son on our own conditions. So I caught him in my hands. He's the first person I saw. Whether he saw me or not, his eyes opened and looked straight up at me. That was just magic for me, and just totally something I'll always remember. One of the most special moments of my life.
Not specific and prescribed, but definitely I had some things that I didn't want them to follow, and some things that I did want them to follow. So I wanted them to really be able to express their creativity in the fullness of that. And I wanted to provide the opportunities for them to be able to do that. And I knew that I couldn't do that by myself, so I always sought out other people who could work with my children according to their particular character in order to help them to develop. But I never lost the disciplinarian part.
What path do I want my children to follow? We can go into the complexities. I'd like them to have a profession. I'd like them to be an accountant or a politician, etc. But I think in my elder years, I just wish for my children to be happy and whole and prosperous. Just simplicity.
Yes, I surely did. I wanted my children to be doctors, to be lawyers. Yes.
No, not really. I just wanted my children to be happy and succeed in whatever they do. If it was any path really, because I'm quite creative and my wife is quite creative as well. It was something down that avenue, whether it's something creative, maybe they could do art or maybe they could do music, because I like to make music as well. So if it was a path, I definitely wouldn't mind it being something in the creative side of things.
No, I don't think so. I think I guess being a young father, I was still trying to work out my path, and I think I still am working out my path. So to try and have a fixed idea and a definitive answer for my children about where they should go and or what direction they should take, I don't think I'm in that position. So yeah, I feel I've been quite free for them in the path that they take.
Not a particular path apart from the fact that I want them to achieve the most that they can do in this world. So I can't say I want my child to be a lawyer. When I was a child, my mum would say she wanted me to be a doctor, she wanted me to do this, to do that, but I can't do that because the world is changing, and I know with the generation before, they perceived it a certain way. This generation, my generation, we see the world a certain way, and you know, there's so much different avenues that a person can go and do and be a success in, and success is, you could be a success at cleaning the streets if that's what you choose to do. All I wanted with I didn't want my children to be on road, I wanted to be high achievers in what they did.
The path of righteousness. So, you know, I want both my children to be fully expressed. I want them to be themselves, first and foremost. Obviously, I'm leading the example, but I want them, like, whatever they choose to do, I want them to be in love with it. I want them to be infused and happy, but most importantly, I want them to be themselves. I don't want them to be like anyone else.
Wow. In essence, no. I just knew that I wanted them to all be quite strong as individuals, have an essence of knowing that they had a focus and a desire to be their own individuals.
I'd like my children to grow and be very rounded, and then within the guidelines that I know that my parents, my grandparents obviously brought in, so we're in this range, but I think for my children, their path, they will decide where they're gonna go afterwards, you know, and I'm not strict, I just tell them to work backwards, to decide what you want in life, you know, I'm like money, how much you want to earn, for example, if it's career, and then work backwards, and you can have your professional life and your fun life, but you can do it all. You don't have to choose either or. So I'm very flexible in what they do. So they're creative and, you know, very knowledgeable kids.
A particular path. I would like my child to have a successful path in the sense that he has the freedom to do what he wants to do, you know, and has the freedom, I guess, of movement across countries, nations, borders, through whatever employability he chooses, and to be able to take as many people as he likes on that particular journey as well. So that could be his wife, girlfriend, or his children, etc., etc., his parents.